This experience has changed my entire life. It has changed the way that I look at everything that happens to me. Every time something comes up and I go, this is hard, I go, wait a minute, what's possible? What is possible? Don't give up just yet, Karaleigh. Don't give up on your singing dream. Don't give up on the future that Joshua could have before him, because look at what has come about. Look at the miracles that have happened. I never could have predicted them, and I'm done trying to predict. Done trying to predict because I know nothing. I'm ready to just be open to the incredible possibilities that are out there. Miracles are coming. They're on their way.
There are times when life just brings you down, 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 down to the ground. And it's hard when you can't see the light, 'cause things don't look so bright. So now it's time to reframe, reframe and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Why don't you join me? 'Cause I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, 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 I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine.
I'm Karaleigh Garrison, a singer-songwriter, motivational speaker, and your host of the Seeking Sunshine podcast, where we find the positive in the trials of life. I created this podcast because I believe really deeply that we can learn from one another's stories and experiences. I'm willing to bet that just about all of us have been through some really, really tough things. And not only is it therapeutic for us to be able to talk about these darkest times in our lives, but the lessons that we've learned and the resilience we've shown can help everyone around us weather their own storms from higher ground. On the Seeking Sunshine podcast, we don't shy away from difficulty and trauma, but we always look for the sunshine in it. It's my personal belief that there are blessings in every trial and trials in every blessing. I use this Seeking Sunshine mantra every single day to change my perspective when things start going wrong and getting frustrating, which they often do because I have 3 kids with special needs. And I can tell you that it has transformed my life. And I hope, and that's the whole point of this podcast, that it can transform your life too. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. Thank you so much for coming back. I love having you here. Today we have such a fun episode. I'm so glad that I get to share it with you. This is actually a really amazing thing that I got to do this last week. It is a virtual keynote concert called Don't Give Up Just Yet. Miracles are on their way. And I did this live last week, April 27th, which was last Thursday. And I got to combine my love of storytelling with my love of music. And I shared this incredible story of my son Joshua and his type 1 diabetes journey. And it's really uplifting and inspiring. And I know that you're just going to love it. And I got to pair that with some of the songs that are coming out in my album. So I'm really, really excited to share this with you. And I'm going to just let you dive right in.
Thank you for being here. This is Don't Give Up Just Yet. Miracles are on their way. And the whole point of this is for me to practice doing this thing that I've been dying to do for so long. I want to combine my love of speaking and sharing truly inspirational, heartfelt, spirit-filled stories that are going to brighten your day and fill you with hope with my love of singing. And then, my album's coming out in about a month and a half. It's coming out on May 23rd. And so I'm going to combine this incredible story with some of the songs that are coming out on my album. And of course, there's things going wrong at every turn. And one of the things that I discovered in my little practice session yesterday is that Zoom does not like backing tracks. I attempted to, I had a little speaker, I had a Bluetooth speaker playing my track, and I recorded it while I sang. And every time I sang, Zoom bleeped out the backing track. So I figured that just wasn't going to work. And so I'm going to sing my songs a cappella for you. And you know what? It's going to work because I actually love singing a cappella. Turns out that I am more comfortable singing a cappella than I am with the backing track. And I love it. I feel like you can feel the spirit of the songs and the integrity behind them so much more when I sing them a cappella. So we're just gonna go with that. And so this is a chance for me to practice doing the speaking and the singing together. And I'm so excited to share this story with you because it is incredible. It is so deep. And I'm hoping that at the end of this that we'll have a chance to do some questions. So if you are watching on the Facebook live stream, feel free to ask some questions in the chat. I am hoping that at the end of this, I'll be able to hop on over there and look at the chat and see if there is anything going on over there. And if there's not, no worries. You can always ask them later and I'll come back and answer. And if you make it into the Zoom meeting, it seems to be not letting people in right now. If you make it into the Zoom meeting and you have questions, then definitely pop those into the chat and we can try to do a Q&A at the end of this. And we'll try to keep this under an hour, definitely closer to like 30, 45 minutes so that we have time for Q&A. So I'm going to get started. For those of you who don't know, Seeking Sunshine is the name of both my podcast and my album. And that's because Seeking Sunshine has kind of become my life mantra. It's become the way that I look at the world. I want to help everybody change the way that we all see the things around us, the way that we look at the trials that we face, the way that we look at the things that we encounter every day. How can we look at the world around us instead of from these things that we face are so difficult and they're just weighing us down, instead of looking at the world from that perspective, but to change it to be like, where's the sunshine in every single thing that I see? And so as I share this story of my son Joshua and his diabetes journey, it truly changed the way that I look at everything. It brought sunshine to every part of my life and it changed my perspective on everything. And so that's where the sunshine is. The sunshine is changing your perspective to see the positivity, to see the beauty in everything around us. And so the first song that I want to share with you is actually Seeking Sunshine Acoustic. Now, my single for this album is the Seeking Sunshine song. It was released on my birthday, April 9th, a year ago. And it's my podcast intro song. And it's my big, loud, rockin', amazing song. And the Seeking Sunshine acoustic version is actually the bonus that you get if you buy the album on Bandcamp. And most people haven't heard it, and it's really fun, and it's actually a lot easier to sing live because the original Seeking Sunshine kind of has a lot of moving parts, a lot of overlapping vocals. So this one's a lot easier to sing live, so that's the one I'm going to do for you, is Seeking Sunshine Acoustic, and it is slower, and it's jazzier, and it's a lot of fun. So it goes like this. There are times when life just brings you down, 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 down to the ground, and it's hard when you can't see the light, 'cause things don't look so bright. So now it's time to reframe and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Why don't you join me? 'Cause I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Don't you know? I'm not gonna let the bad come on and make me sad, no matter what comes my way. Yeah. No, I don't care what they do. I will find joy in truth. Ooh, it's time to reframe, reframe and retrain your brain. You know that there's good. That's why you've endured. Yeah, you have, babe. 'Cause I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Ooh, I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm seeking, I'm seeking, I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. 'Cause I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Ooh, I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. So that's Singing Sunshine acoustic. It's a lot of fun with all the backing tracks, especially in comparison to the original. So now I'm going to set the stage for this big story that I'm going to tell you, and that is summer of 2018. Our family moved to Utah from San Antonio, Texas. And this was a really big deal for us because my husband had just been officially declared disabled, and he had spent the last several years unable to work. He'd been diagnosed with something called familial episodic ataxia, and he would collapse whenever he got too stressed out. And I would have to carry him to bed. And he's a lot bigger than I am. And it was a really, really difficult time for us. And at that time, we had Aurora and Joshua and Benjamin, and they were, let's see, about 6, 5, and 2, I think. And Aurora and Joshua both had autism diagnoses, and Benjamin did not yet. Benjamin was really hard, even though he didn't have that diagnosis yet. And Aurora and Joshua were both in school full time, and then they would go to therapy for about 4 hours a day. And life was really, really hard. And I was taking care of them full time, and I was also in school, trying to do school online and finish up my degree. And that spring, we felt really, really strongly that we needed to move back to Utah to finish our bachelor's degrees at BYU because we hadn't quite finished them yet. And we were like, this is crazy. How are we gonna do this? This seems insane. Like we had just gotten everything figured out. We had just gotten all the doctors for the kids and for my husband. We had just gotten everything settled. My in-laws lived down the street, and we were relying on them really heavily to watch the kids when I would take my husband to the hospital. And we had a year where he was admitted, like not just went to the ER, but like admitted to the hospital once a month for a year. We relied on them a lot. And it was really, really difficult. And we didn't know how we would survive moving to Utah, but we felt so strongly. And if you don't know us very well, or you're not very spiritual or something, that this just doesn't make sense to you, I will tell you that we are very, very religious, and the foundation of our marriage and the foundation of this family is God. And we rely on him for everything. And so when he told us to move to Utah, we kind of just said, okay, I guess we'll do that. And as I was praying and praying and praying, I was going, are we gonna be okay? Are we gonna survive this? Are we gonna be okay? I got this really, really clear answer. It's not just gonna be okay, it's gonna be amazing. And my husband was walking on a cane. He could hardly move. He couldn't vacuum. He couldn't do the dishes without collapsing. And it was a really hard time for us. And so we moved to Utah, and it was a really difficult experience. And we had really awful thing after awful thing happened. And we tried to move into one house, and they stole a bunch of money from us and lied to us, and we never moved in, and they kept all the money we paid them and took us to court, and it was crazy. And we just had awful thing after awful thing happened. And one of the things that happened was that I auditioned for the School of Music for Opera, and I was like, this is it. This is the reason why all the bad things have been happening. And then I didn't get in, and I was absolutely devastated. And one of the really bad things that happened in October, when Joshua got really, really sick. And now I have to tell you about Joshua before I can really dive into this story so that you understand. Joshua was 7 years old, and he was severely autistic and completely and utterly nonverbal. And Joshua was the kid who was bouncing off the walls every second of the day. This is the kid who had wrecked my truck. He pulled the car into reverse. When the car was off, there were no keys in the car. He pulled it into reverse, and it rolled backwards and hit another car. This is my kid who set the fridge on fire. This is my kid who you had to have eyes on him at every single second of the day. He bounced off the walls non-stop. This is my kid who ran into the road and opened somebody's car door while they were driving. This is Joshua. He was the wildest of children. This is Joshua. So, so wild. And he had no words, not a single sound that meant anything. And again, we were in therapy 4 hours a day for several years. So much therapy, and he had not made any progress. No progress at all. And we had spent years and years and years with Aurora and Benjamin, our whole family together, praying and praying and praying and praying that Joshua would have a voice someday, that he'd be able to talk. And with our little 3 and 4 year old Benjamin, we prayed. And our 6 and 7 year old Aurora, we prayed every single night that Joshua would be able to talk someday. And just after we moved, right before October, when this whole thing happened, we'd been praying really intensely at this point. And I actually, I went live on Facebook, and I kind of had a little crying meltdown on a Facebook Live. And I was like, I can't do it anymore, guys. It's breaking my heart. I cannot continue to hope that my son's going to talk one day. I have to just accept. I have to just accept that he's not going to talk. I have to just accept that this is our life. I cannot keep hoping for this. I can't do it anymore. It's breaking my heart. And what's funny is, as I look back on it, I felt that same way so many times about music. It felt literally impossible that I could ever do anything with music. And it felt impossible that my son would ever talk to me. And so I'm going to sing you another song. And this song is really precious to me. This song is called Wait. And I know that this song has some really deep meaning for people in my family. And I hope that it will have a deep impact for you as well. And I know that it's going to be really impactful a cappella because I have a deep love for a cappella music. But I do really encourage you, if you haven't had a chance yet, to go listen to it on the pre order page for the album, which is at karaleigh.garrison.com, because the background music that my co writer, he goes by Potbelly McCracken, the music that he put to this literally puts me to tears when I listen to it. It's just incredible. Yeah. So, anyways, this is one of the songs that you can go listen to on the pre-order page. So you should really go listen to it. So it goes like this. I heard you want to quit again. You're feeling like a fool for thinking that this path was meant for somebody like you. You put yourself out there again. Your confidence is scarred. If this was really meant to be, why is it so damn hard? But wait, maybe it doesn't have to look the way they said it did. And wait, what if it's not too late to change your mind or change the world? Don't give up just yet. Wait. Your heart feels like an empty shell, and you forgot to breathe. You have a desperate longing for a hope you can't yet see. I've seen how much you've sacrificed. I know inside you burn. You don't think that you're good enough, but tell me what you've learned. But wait, maybe it doesn't have to look the way they said it did. And wait, what if it's not too late to change your mind or change the world? Don't give up just yet. Wait. You may think your time has come and gone, but another day is coming with the dawn. Wait, maybe it doesn't have to look the way they said it did. And wait, maybe it's not too late to change your mind or change the world. Wait, maybe it doesn't have to look the way they said it did. And wait, what if it's not too late to change your mind or change the world? Don't give up just yet. Don't give up just yet. Don't give up just yet. Wait. I kind of wrote that song as a letter to myself because those are the words that I needed to hear. And I think those are words that a lot of people need to hear. And I wish that I'd had those words to tell myself back then. And I think that that's why I named this piece that is don't give up just yet, because there are miracles coming. And so to get back to this story, I remember the day that it started really clearly. As another little preface, the night before was a Friday night, and we went to the store, and it was just like any other day. It was just like any other day. We went to the store and we got some groceries, and Joshua wanted orange soda, and I didn't think anything of it, and I got it for him because I just wanted, honestly, I just wanted to shut him up, and I was just hoping that it would make him happy and quiet for like a little bit of time, because a nonverbal kid screams a lot, guys. Really loud and screams a lot. And then I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary until Saturday morning. Well, that day will always be scarred in my mind. When he walked out of that room that Saturday morning, it was the first Saturday in October of 2018. My little 7-year-old Joshua walked out of his room a different kid. He suddenly looked like he had lost a ton of weight just overnight. And now you should know that Joshua had been struggling with his weight his whole life. He'd been underweight for ages. We couldn't get him to eat anything. And we had tried prescription medications, and then he was allergic to it. And we had done tons of feeding therapy, but he wouldn't eat anything. It was a constant battle, and that's a battle that a lot of kiddos with autism struggle with. But he wouldn't eat anything. He was extremely picky, and he just looked like death. You could see all of his ribs and the thigh gap, like we talk about it like it's something we want, and then I saw it on my 7-year-old, and it was the most horrific, disgusting thing I'd ever seen in my life. And the horrific part was that the image that came to my mind to compare my 7-year-old to was the pictures that I had seen of people who had survived concentration camps like Auschwitz, and like that kind of malnutrition. Like that's what my son looked like walking out of his bedroom that morning. And he wasn't bouncing off the walls. He kind of staggered out and came and curled up in a ball on the living room floor. And he had no energy. And now I remember really clearly that I had like two parts of my mom brain kind of battling each other. And there was one part, the mama bear part, that was like, something is really wrong. This is not okay. Something is really, really wrong. And then there was the other part that was like, he's just sick. He just has a stomach bug. He's just sick. He's okay. It will pass. It's fine. And you know what? I let that side win. And he puked a little bit, and I don't even think he had a fever. And we spent the weekend just, he cuddled with me, guys. This is my kid who would never let me touch him. He would never let me cuddle him. And he sat in my lap, and he was quiet and curled on the floor, and he let me cuddle with him. And part of it was really nice. And part of it was so scary. And so Monday I took him to the doctor, and my kid who bounces off the walls, I had to carry him into the doctor's office because he couldn't walk on his own. And she didn't even look at him. She said, it's probably just a stomach bug. Take him home. He'll be better in a couple days. And I said, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I've got 3 kids. We've been through tons of things. I don't think that this is a normal thing. I think something's really wrong. And she said, well, I mean, I guess we could test his blood, but he has autism. And it's really, really hard to test a kid with autism's blood. So she did nothing. And we went home. And now, if you forgot, my husband and I were both full time college students with 3 kids in 3 different schools at this time with no family support. It was so hard. Life was really hard. So it was like, which of us is going to stay home from our classes to stay home with the sick kiddo? And so we figured that out. And Wednesday morning, I was in class and my husband was home with our son, and he sent me a picture. Joshua looked worse than ever. And I took one look at that picture and I said, no, I'm done. I took one look at that picture and I said, my son is dying in front of me, and I'm done tolerating this. I'm not doing it. I'm done. And so I took him to the ER. And they took one look at my son and they said, this kid has type 1 diabetes. We need to check his blood sugar now. And, wouldn't you know, it took multiple teams of grown men. I think in the end, it took like 7 adult men holding my son down who couldn't walk on his own because he was fighting so hard and he was so dehydrated. It took a ton of effort to get one little drop of blood from that kid to determine that, yes, indeed, Joshua was in diabetic ketoacidosis and he was dying because he has type 1 diabetes. And they transferred us to a bigger hospital and they started giving him insulin. And it was kind of my biggest nightmare come true. My wild child in a hospital, and I was in just an utter state of shock. And I walked in there and I was like, you don't understand, guys. Any second now, he's going to come back to life and he is just going to demolish this hospital. He's going to turn the language on all your computers to Japanese. He's going to explode the hospital. Like, you don't understand what's going to happen here. Like, I was just beside myself. And we were at Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake, and they were incredible. And they had a nurse stand by the door all night to make sure that didn't happen. And it was an awful night. They had to check his blood sugar, I think, like every 30 minutes. But they didn't have a whole team of men to hold him down when they pricked his finger. It was just me and a nurse. And that kid tore huge chunks of my hair out. And we had to try to prick his toe to get blood. And then the next day, after very little sleep, they were like, here is a crap ton of information. We're just going to shove your head full of all the knowledge you're ever going to need for the rest of your life, since you're going to be the one managing this for your severely autistic kiddo here. And it was entirely overwhelming. And I was like, what is happening here? So I'm going to sing you the second to last song here. And it is called Evergreen. And this is my song about motherhood. And it's so much deeper than I'm going to get into here. And if you're a mom, it might really hit home for you. But what I'm going to point out here is type 1 diabetes has a lot to do with not sleeping, and motherhood has a lot to do with not sleeping. And there's a lot in having a severely autistic kiddo who's type 1 diabetic. That means that I will be evergreen. I will always be there for him. There will never be a time when he will not need me. So that's kind of where evergreen came from. So here's evergreen. Leaves fall down and tell the world to slow down. They count on me oh, their grass. I stand strong and tall, even as they fall. They take their rest, and I must confess that I see the beauty in sleep, in going under, oh so deep. But I know that it must be so, that I don't get to go that far. 'Cause baby, I know that you need me. That's why I will always be evergreen. Spring brings change. The world starts to rearrange things. Work and play, happiness and pain. Constant energy, barely time to breathe. The world spins around. Can you hear the sound? 'Cause I see the beauty in sleep, in going under, oh so deep. But I know that it must be so, that I don't get to go that far. 'Cause baby, I know that you need me. That's why I will always be evergreen. Evergreen, don't make a scene. Just keep going on, 'cause I see the beauty in sleep, in going under, oh so deep. But I know that it must be so, that I don't get to go that far. 'Cause baby, I know that you need me. And that's why I will always be evergreen. So that's evergreen, which I love. It's my motherhood song. So Joshua came home from the hospital, and it was hard. Joshua came home from the hospital, and we were trying to figure out, how do we get back to normal life? How does anything be normal after this? I mean, I was sitting in the hospital going, how is this fair? those moments where you just want to like yell at God and you're like, how is this fair? How can this possibly be any kind of fair? My severely autistic, nonverbal kid now has to deal with this lifelong horrific disease on top of everything else that he has to deal with. Not to mention, how this affects our family. How is this? How is this fair? And I look back at that and I'm amazed because all I could see was my life from this really, really narrow perspective. And how many times have I been stuck in such a narrow perspective? So many times. How many times have you been stuck in a really narrow perspective when there is so much more? When there's so much more out there and there's so much more to your life and there's so much more to come, and we have just no idea what miracles are on their way. And in that moment, I had no idea what else was coming for us that was just so incredible. All I could see was how awful this moment was. And one of the things that we'd been struggling with for so long, besides, Joshua didn't talk, he didn't have any words, not a single sound. He also was severely underweight, and he had been for years and years. And we'd been really struggling with feeding therapy, and we tried meds and nothing. We couldn't get him to eat. But also, we could not get Joshua to poop in the potty. We'd gotten him pee potty trained, which was really funny because I had sworn that I was never going to potty train him until one day when he was about 4, he stood on the toilet. He stood on the edge of the bathtub and he peed into the toilet. And I was never going to potty train that kid until he did that. And then we were able to pee potty train him, but we could not get him to poop in the potty because he wasn't eating anything. And so he wasn't pooping regularly. And it was really awful, guys. It was like, I will not get into details, but it was a really big challenge for us. And he was 7 years old and he was still pooping in his pants. And it was really, really awful. And he went back to school Monday morning. He was in the hospital Wednesday, Thursday, came home Friday afternoon, in the hospital for 3 days when he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And he went back to school on Monday. And guys, he pooped in the potty for the first time in his entire life. We had intensive therapy for years and years and years. Could not get that kid to poop in the potty. And on his first day back from the hospital after type 1 diabetes, he pooped in the potty for the first time in his life. And yeah, it probably had something to do with the 9 corn dogs a day he was suddenly eating. There's this thing where after being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, kids go through this, they suddenly get insulin in their system and they go through this honeymoon phase where they're starving to death because, there's all sorts of medical reasons, but they're suddenly starving to death. And Joshua, my kid, who we could not get him to eat anything, was suddenly, he would only eat corn dogs, but he was eating 9 corn dogs a day. So we were going, I was buying multiple Costco-sized boxes of corn dogs like a week. It was craziness. He was eating so many corn dogs. But he was finally regular enough to go to the bathroom. And within a month, he could say all of his colors. He could say all of his colors. Guys, I had given up. I had given up that my son would ever talk. And his speech skyrocketed that moment. I can't really explain it. But Joshua being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes was the greatest miracle of his entire life, and quite possibly the greatest miracle of mine, because it showed me what's possible. And today, one of our biggest challenges is that Joshua never shuts up. And he talks constantly. And don't get me wrong, he has childhood apraxia of speech. And he is sometimes difficult to understand, although actually here we are 4 years later. He's 11, he'll be 12 in July. Here we are 4.5 years later. He never shuts up. Most people can understand at least half of what he says now. Like, he's getting really solid on the things he says. He tells jokes constantly. His laugh is infectious. And yeah, he perseverates. He says the same thing over and over and over again. And it can be really frustrating. And I have to constantly remember that it is such a gift. It is such a blessing. And my perspective has entirely changed. This experience has changed my entire life. It has changed the way that I look at everything that happens to me. Every time something comes up and I go, this is hard, I go, wait a minute, what's possible? What is possible? Don't give up just yet, Karaleigh. Don't give up on your singing dream. Don't give up on the future that Joshua could have before him, because look at what has come about. Look at the miracles that have happened. I never could have predicted them, and I'm done trying to predict. Done trying to predict because I know nothing. I'm ready to just be open to the incredible possibilities that are out there. Miracles are coming. They're on their way. So my very last song that I have to share with you is sort of the conclusion for this whole thing. And it's called Fearless. And it's about, I'm not perfect at being fearless. I'm not perfect at facing, all the oncoming trials, because there's new trials every day, right? There's constantly new battles to be faced. There are constantly new opportunities to put these lessons into practice in my daily life, to not give up and to expect miracles to come. There's always another opportunity to work on this, to work on seeking sunshine, right? And so this song Fearless is about, I'm not perfect at it yet. I'm still trying to be fearless. I still want to be fearless. But I've learned that it's possible when I trust in God. Anything can happen. His plans for me and for my children are so much more incredible than I can even predict. So I need to not give up, and I just need to trust. So here is Fearless. Fear not, do not be afraid. Though the world is crashing down on you, be of good cheer, for he is near you. I hear these words, they touch my soul. Heaven feels near, but how do I dispel the fear? I wanna be fearless. With his power behind me, no other force can bind me. I wanna be doubtless, trust his arm to guide me through every storm that I see. Doubtless, fearless, me. I know I've had my share of trials, things that I can't bear to say out loud. Fall on my knees and plead for strength. Then I recall those words. They heal my soul. Heaven is near. He'll show me how to face the fear. I wanna be fearless with his power behind me. No other force can bind me. I wanna be doubtless, trust his arm to guide me through every storm that I see. Doubtless, fearless me. Now I know my fear can dissipate when I trust in him and in my faith. Faith, faith, faith. Fearless with his power behind me. No other force can bind me. Doubtless, trust his arm to guide me through every storm that I see. With his power behind me, no other force can bind me. Trust his arm to guide me through every storm that I see. Doubtless, fearless, trusting, faithful me. So don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up just yet. Miracles are coming.
Thank you so much for coming and for listening. I hope you can see how much this story means to me. It is really just my whole heart and soul have been poured into these songs, and it's my life. My kids are everything to me, and this story means so much to me, and I hope you can just feel just how much love is just poured out in all of this. And I really am so thankful that you got to hear this, and I hope that you just got something amazing out of it. So here are my very favorite takeaways. Number 1, it's time to reframe, and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Number 2, wait. Maybe it doesn't have to look the way they said it did. Wait. Maybe it's not too late to change your mind or change the world. Don't give up just yet. Wait. Number 3, I know that you need me, and that's why I will always be evergreen. Number 4, every time something comes up and I go, this is hard, I go, wait a minute, what's possible? What is possible? Don't give up just yet. Number 5, I am done trying to predict because I know nothing. I'm ready to just be open to the incredible possibilities that are out there. Miracles are coming. They are on their way. Number 6, there are constantly new opportunities to put these lessons into practice in my daily life, to not give up and to expect miracles to come. There's always another opportunity to work on this, to work on seeking sunshine. And number 7, do not be afraid. Though the world is crashing down on you, be of good cheer, for He is near you. Thank you again so much for your love and support. I feel it, and I hope that you will share this episode with other people and, spread the sunshine and spread the love. This is my message for the world, guys, is don't give up. Don't give up. And I feel like I've just said that over and over and over again, but I just feel it so strongly that I just want to shout it from the rooftops. I don't know who needs to hear that message right now, whether it's about your dreams or even if it's your life. I don't know what it is that you feel like you're about to give up on. Don't give up. Don't give up just yet. And maybe that dream is going to turn out a little differently than you expect. Maybe success is going to turn out just a little bit differently. Maybe it won't look the way you planned, and maybe it's not going to look the way that someone else told you it had to look. Maybe it'll turn out even better than you could have ever imagined. But don't give up on it, because it's coming. The miracle's coming, I promise. Just don't give up on it. I hope that you have just such an incredible day. And as, a little treat maybe, I'm actually going to leave you with a song from the album that is full. It's not just me singing a cappella. It is the whole fully produced song, all complete and ready to go for you. I'm going to leave you with Evergreen, which, as you heard, is my ode to motherhood.
Leaves fall down and tell the world to slow down.
Did you enjoy this episode? You can support this podcast by leaving a review and sharing it with friends and family. It would be awesome for you to text it to somebody or share it on social media, and let's just spread more sunshine because the world really, really needs it.